What's going on, guys? How's everyone doing today? Ishmael, I see you speaking. Think you have to unmute yourself, buddy.
Good. Doing pretty good. How about
Good.
yourself?
Good. Just hanging out in quarantine,
I don't know. I'm kind of appreciating the regularity.
Yeah, I hear that. Hi, May. How's it going, buddy? Kevin, Tim. Thanks for coming. Laura, Linda. I got a 9-5.
Hey, good, Neal. How you doing?
Good, buddy. Martin, Mr. Turner. Love the cowboy hat, buddy. Brent. What's up? Hey, Brenda. Bill. Hopefully Randy graces us with his presence shortly. I think he's having technical difficulties. Hey, Francis, buddy.
Hey, so sorry. Randy's still trying to sign in, so give us a minute. Thanks.
Francis,
Uh-huh.
were you going to go through some things with everybody?
Yeah, Randy wanted me to go through how to use Instanet forms. So we're just going to go through that for 5 minutes or so.
You want to do that quick while Randy's logging in?
Sure, but Randy's, I think Randy should be here in a minute now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm here now.
Randall.
Hey, buddy.
What's up? Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see everybody on here. I just hosted a meeting with Omid doing some orientation stuff, and so somehow it kept double logging me into this thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
One Randall is enough.
I'll kick this off. I know you guys have been waiting for a few minutes, so let me, I kind of had an idea how I was going to do this. Now, you guys, if you're not familiar with Zoom, which looks like I'm not, but, you can sign into here. Does everybody see that? Neal, you're unmuted, so do you see the Zoom screen?
Yep.
Okay, so anybody can go to zoom.us and sign up for an account. I believe the free account lets you guys host any meeting you want for up to 40 minutes. So it's really easy to just use this and get a free account and sign up to talk to people like we're doing. I hosted a few meetings on it now. We kind of did a birthday happy hour last week. It was, you just got to start using it and take advantage of the stuff.
Yeah. And even if 40 minutes expires, people can just rejoin. So if you're doing like a seller consultation we use it for family stuff, you can still be connected without being physically present. It's a neat deal, and that's pretty easy.
And the 40 minutes is only if you have 3 or more people on the call. So if it's just a one-on-one, you can talk indefinitely.
Oh, good to know.
Well, I was going to have Francis take over the screen and make sure we double up, because if you ever get into a conversation with the lead, we should be doing Authentisign, and a lot of people aren't familiar with how to do it. So I thought I'd quick have him take the screen and just walk through Authentisign over the next minute or 2 minutes. Francis, you got it there?
Make sure when you're using
Sure.
This is Liz. When you use Authentisign, set up templates as soon as you can, so you don't have to go through such a hassle every single time.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it looks like there's a bunch of ways to go about it, because so it totally depends on what you think is easiest for you. So as Liz says, setting up templates definitely makes it easier for sure. Here, give me a second. Let me just share my screen here. All right. So I'm just going to go through it from the start. Getting to Authentisign, just there's 2 ways to go there. I usually just click here or go to the transaction desk over here, second link, or it's also supposed to be, well, it's also supposed to be here, but I don't use it, so it's probably not here.
It's the
Yeah, but
top.
this one here, this link here is the link. So just go to transaction desk. Should have had this open. It takes a while, and if it's the first time you're using it, it'll also like check stuff, so it will take a little longer. Now, when you're working with a client, so first thing you want to do is go to this link here, the second link here on transaction desk, for you to create a transaction. Now, what I usually do is I name the transaction. If it's a buyer, I name the transaction using the buyer's name. If it's a listing, I name it using the property address. And then if it's a buyer you're representing, you would want to upload or sync up the MLS listing you're writing an offer for, so that it auto fills all the paperwork for you. But that's optional, so we can just skip that for now. And then just add yourself either as the listing agent or as the buyer agent. I'll just put neither. So on the example here, Randall Carey is our buyer. So for our scenario right now, we're just gonna be sending him his agency relations form, because it's a new lead. You're meeting him up. You know, just click on contacts. I usually just go through the links here on the right hand side, and as Liz says, there's definitely setting up templates and stuff. This is how I do it. Once you learn it, you'll probably have some preferences too. So I just go through these main links here, these 3 links on the right hand side: contacts, forms, and signings. So as soon as I have something, I just first go to contacts. I just add myself. If I clicked earlier that I was the listing agent or the buyer's agent, this would have been automatic. So I'll just add that. And then I'll add our buyer. So our buyer is Randall Carey. And these are the only 2 things that you need: the first name and the last name. In case you don't, it's just the first name and last name for you to start using the contact. But usually, when you use Authentisign, you'd also be sending it out for e-signatures. So always put the email address. And all right. Okay, and then next up is I go to forms, and then you just click add here, and then the search for the forms, you just type as little as possible. So agency, if you see here, it just pops up. So you just add that in case you also want to put a buyer's rep in. Here's the buyer's rep. And if you see here, there's a number 2 on the basket because we have 2 forms. We just add that, and it's right here. And if you click on buyer's representation here, you'll see that it automatically fills it out. So there's your buyer's name right there. And if you have a template, or if you filled out more information earlier from the wizard, then you'll definitely everything will be filled out for you. So, yep. But for now, Randy wanted me to just do an agency relationships and just show you guys how fast we can actually get this signed. So after you have agency relationships open, you will see on the upper right part of your screen, there's a sign button. Just click sign, confirm. And once you're used to this, it's probably just a couple of minutes for you to do. So participant, it's just Randy, our remote signer. Our document's already loaded up, but if you wanted to add more documents, like if you're uploading a document or anything like that, if you already met and had a buyer's rep signed, you can just, if you forgot anything, you can just add it here and just go to design, step 4. And if the forms are from Instanet and you didn't upload it, if you can see here, the signing blocks are already there for you. So there's nothing else you need to do. But just in case it's not, you uploaded the document or anything like that, signing blocks are just right here on the upper right part. So sign is right there. Signer name and date. But basically, you're all set here. After you clicked on the number 4 for design, just hit next. And then send invitations for signing. And there you go. You're done. By this time, Randy should have received an email for a signing request already. And if you click, and it's on the signing tabs here, that's on the 4th, that's on the 5th tab here, you'll see that you have an ongoing transaction. So as soon as Randy opens it, it'll show up that there's a flag here. As soon as he signs it, the flag will show up here too. So that's how easy it is to do Authentisign.
Perfect. So I don't know if you want to stop screen sharing or how that works. I think I can start.
Yep, I stopped it.
Okay. Let's see. I think I'm waiting for my computer to recognize that you stopped. Yeah, okay. So let's go. I got a ton of open windows. So one of the things I was going to recommend then is that, if we got a Zoom meeting going, you can show your buyers, to start looking for properties on your website. I would walk them right into it. Show them how to use your website to find them so they're not on another company's website. And the next thing I would do is take it a step further and say, let's go house shopping right now together and get a feel for what you're after and set them up on an automatic search maybe in the MLS. So right over to the MLS page and asking, what community. And people might be interested anyways to see, this is what realtors get to look at, So basically, a long time ago, I used to bring people and sit them on a couch with a big screen and kind of look at a few houses just to cement relationships. And so I'm kind of doing the same thing where they can actually see what we can find in the MLS for lots of lands. It gives you a little bit of time over the computer. I would probably get them off of the, set them up with a search and then get them right back to your own website if you guys have one. If you don't, Neal's on the phone right now, and he's kind of one of the big pushes to get us with Chime. If anybody has any questions, I just kind of wanted to show you guys a few steps to easily use technology to your advantage. And if anybody has any questions, I think, specifically regarding Chime, Neal's been using it with his team for a few years now. And, now that I have this enterprise version, I'm giving anybody who will use it a seat.
Yeah, and with Chime, There's the ability to create landing pages, and they came out as soon as this whole thing happened. They came out with virtual ways to do Facebook Live registration and YouTube Live registration right from a landing page. So you can create a page within your website that you send out to all your leads, where they can give you their information and or schedule a time to do a Facebook Live, where that's where you're going to be doing your consultations either through Zoom. You can do a video walkthrough with Zoom, Facebook. It's not a bad idea to add them as a friend. Your potential leads, clients, add them as a friend on Facebook anyways. And then through that, you can do Facebook video through Messenger, which makes it pretty simple. Agents are either going to thrive or die in this economy. So we have to adapt. Business is still moving. People are still buying and selling real estate. And the way to do that is through virtual, the virtual world we live in now. So, incorporating these things Randy and Francis are talking about is critical to making it through, and not only just making it through, but thriving through this opportunity. So adding these things to your business, Chime is a very good resource to do that. Randy's showing you, there's a way for people to schedule a showing right through your website. So they make it pretty simple through Chime. And then adding the landing pages, you can put a video on there, right? So you can create a video talking about how you're adapting, and then send people to your landing page where they can schedule a tour or set up a time to just do a video consultation.
I think if anybody has clients they're working with, we all got to stay, keep going. And, personal protective equipment can go a long way. It's kind of becoming a standard. So it feels awkward, but we got to keep working.
We have to. And my team, we've gone as far as having the selling agent, having all four parties on a Zoom call. Like, why wouldn't you? Everyone can view a house from their home. Have the sellers walk your buyers through the house. Like, what better guy, tour guide than someone that's lived there for years, right? So you just got to be smart about it. If both clients are represented on the phone, the savvy agent's going to let their buyers know to basically show no emotions and just ask the questions. The other representation might not do that, and sellers might say more than you would typically say, but that's fine because they're not your client, right? So, just doing the things that are different, putting that on your listings, agent remarks, letting people know, hey, my sellers are willing to do a walkthrough of the property virtually with your buyers. No one has to leave their home. Like, it's even easier now. So we're implementing that, and then using the tools and the technology that you have. Randy, if you go up to the square with the two shaded in boxes, yeah. And then click your website, National Realty Guild. Yep, that's fine too. And then left side, third one down, I believe, or fourth one down, whichever one's landing pages. Yeah, so landing pages. And then add a new landing page. And then you have all these, right? Listing live tour. It's a no-brainer, guys. You can still do virtual open houses. Send out that, boost that post to everybody. The reality is this thing is going to, part-time agents are gonna leave the industry, more than likely, and or people that were thinking of retiring, it's going to push them to retire. So there's just going to be more clients for people to serve. Jaime, you'll have to get with Raylan. She can set you up on a Chime website. Then you'll have to go through the training. You don't have to, but I would just to get acquainted. There's so much stuff you can do with Chime. But setting up a landing page, guys, it gives you a URL. You can post that URL everywhere, and then you can generate leads, right? So you can do listing live tour leads. And then every lead that comes in will be labeled as listing live tour. So you can follow up with that specific lead, however, whenever you want, and you'll know exactly where they came from. And they got home evaluation, single property. They make it pretty simple. So, and then you can create your own, right? You can do a blank one. So I've created like a one where people can access my calendar to do a virtual consultation, sellers, buyers, renters, whatever. So they let you create, start from scratch and add whatever content you want, videos. You can do a brief snippet of how you're adapting. But yeah, I mean, Randy's paying for it, guys. You guys might as well take advantage. It's like the Cadillac of CRMs. It is not $300 a month. It's free for you. And I will say, as a flat fee broker, for Randy to be, it's not cheap. It is not cheap. So he is definitely hooking the agents up that are in NRG. So I would definitely take advantage of that. And their websites
are $20,000 a year at it. So if anybody can help it, use it to help grow your business. That's why I'm doing it.
Check out go to mndreamteam.com and you can see the capabilities that they have. So you can find videos.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. I like your thing.
So you can have videos as your background, and then it's 100% customizable. You can have it however you want, and it doesn't take that long. Even the default is a good looking website, and it's a direct representation, especially now that everything's online. So
I don't know if we can open this up or not, or if you guys have a way that anybody's asking questions, but if anybody had any market questions or something, I know Neal or Ishmael were willing to talk about that. Otherwise,
I think just raise your hand. You can do that, I think, or just start talking. Unmute yourself and ask a question.
I was using the group chat box to ask my questions, but will Francis send out that link again?
Yep, just search your email for Chime, CHIME, and it should pop up again. Otherwise, if you can't find it, then.
Yeah, I'll send you a link, Liz. If you can just send me a quick email or anything like that, I will send you a link for setting up your Chime account.
Okay,
so
well, I wasn't looking to draw this out too long. I just wanted to give everybody a quick glimpse of how easy it is to set up these online things. And so,
Randy, you might want to check the chat. There's a couple questions there, but for guys who wants to set up their Chime accounts, just please send me an email, and I will for sure send you a setup link for your account today.
Where's the chat?
Question about inspections. I have a listing that just had an inspection 2 days ago, and the buyer was there and the inspector were there at the same time, I guess. And I did a virtual open house yesterday on a listing I have coming up in St. Paul. Anybody need a 4-bedroom in St. Paul, by the way? It just went live today. I went yesterday with my own phone and I walked through and did my own, because this particular buyer doesn't have wiggle room to pay for anything. It only took me, it was a 5-minute video. Sure, it's not as professional, but it gets my listing up quick right now. And there are companies that you can get it done for. I think a couple people we're working with will do both stationary photos and a virtual tour for under $300. But yes, they are still doing inspections.
Yeah, inspectors are labeled as essential And most of them, the good ones, are doing virtual only. I would not, I mean, especially if your listing's occupied. It's very surprising that the inspector had the buyers there 2 days ago. Most of the inspectors will jump on Zoom after they've done, at least the inspectors we work with, will jump on a Zoom call after the inspection and go through the report line item by line item, depending on how the buyer, however many questions the buyer has. So the good inspectors are doing that. Secondly, most of the time, the buyers aren't needed there really. I mean, a lot of times from what I hear with inspectors that they're just there measuring stuff or whatever, measuring for furniture. So I think less is definitely more, and incorporating the virtual should be required, especially if you have an occupied property. It should be one representative from that client side there, if any at all. The inspectors should be doing it virtually. Absolutely. No agents are attending closings. So, and you're absolutely right. Doing a video yourself, who cares? Just make sure that you're doing it. It really doesn't matter. Just make sure that it's available. Even having your sellers do it, it's not a big deal. And then you can do the narration. So
the big thing they said is make sure in your narration you keep your own personal marketing out of it. Don't bring yourself up, because you want agents to share it and you want people to see it on multiple platforms. So just make sure it's an unpersonalized, at least. And I that's hard to do, right? Because my Facebook Lives, you mention yourself over and over, but in that case, they reminded you, keep it unmarketed.
Yep, I would have a couple, one that's branded with you for 5 seconds in the beginning, and then one that's edited without you in it, just so that you can do both. For sure. Then maybe end it with whatever you want, but let's see. Going through the chat. One question up at the top from Mike. Best way to get, it's from back at the beginning of the call. Best way to get the buyer's offer to the listing agent. Authentisign will send you a final signature email. Click the link, it automatically downloads the file as a PDF, and then just create an email and send it to them. It's the best way to do that. Some agents just, forward that final Authentisign over, but however you want to do it, I think it's more professional to download the PDF and send them an email with your buyer's letter or whatever.
Hey, you guys are welcome to chat as long as you want to. I got an 11:30 meeting, so I'll probably disappear in a couple of minutes. But thanks for getting on here.
What other questions you guys have with regards to anything? Just going to open it up. What's up, Marcus? Good to see you, buddy.
What's up, Neal?
You guys have any questions about the market or running into any issues?
It's a minor one, but I have a guy who the buyer inspected it, and they said there's the furnace has I don't remember, service return or something like that. So if anybody knows anybody who's HVAC and wants to send me a recommendation on who to ask to go over for my seller to get confirmation that it's at least not a safe and health issue, that'd be great. Thanks.
Yep.
I want to add one thing. The association has issued a COVID addendum and you can either do it with the initial offer, or you can do it as an amendment to the offer. But what it does, it requires both parties, both buyer and seller, sign. But if either party is affected by negatively affected by the virus and needs to change a closing date, it automatically, if you have the signatures, it automatically pushes your dates forward by 30 days. 30 days from the time that notification is given to the other party that there's been a negative impact. So that I had a transaction that literally the day after we had final signatures, the gentleman, one of the buyers got laid off, and the listing agent was pushing for a cancellation, but I had the addendum attached, and so that we ended up doing it amicably, but contractually there was nothing that they could do because of that addendum. So I encourage everybody, it's in the Authentisign. It should by now, it should be it's in the Authentisign document list with the Minnesota State documents. So definitely use that. And on the seller side, signing it, then you are at the peril of the buyer, the buyer's employees, and whatever the financial situation. The mortgage industry right now is one thing I wanted to make sure that folks are aware of is that there's a lot of fluctuation. There's daily fluctuations in the mortgage market. And so you need to be checking with your loan officers at least twice a week. If you have a pre-approval that's more than 2 weeks old, I say a week, but pragmatically, if it's more than 2 weeks old, you need to check in and make sure that pre-approval is still good. There's a lot of restrictions with respect to government loans, both VA and FHA. So if you have FHA buyers, that check needs to be every couple of days. You check it with your loan officer. Different loan officers are engaging at different levels as far as staying abreast of what's going on. I've had a loan in underwriting literally for 3 weeks, just sitting. No conditions, just sitting. So everyone's kind of running scared. They're doing thanks Liz, they're doing up to 4 employment verifications within the last week, and they're doing one last one within 24 hours of the closing. So if you want to be proactive and make sure that closing date is your pay date, you want to stay on top of your mortgage side of your transactions. And then appraisals. We didn't talk about appraisals. We talked about inspectors a little bit, but appraisals, the good thing is that sector is reacting relatively well. The conventional market they've lowered the threshold. They're allowing a lot of I'll just call it curbside. That's not what it's called. Exterior inspections. They're allowing exterior inspections in most cases. Most purchase cases they are, unless it's a flip, they're not requiring that the appraiser go in the house a lot of times. So that could be to your advantage if you're talking about prospecting and talking to sellers that might possibly be listing. It's an opportunity that there's not as many sellers in the market as there were prior. We were already short on listing inventory, but this downgrade in appraisal requirements may allow your clients, your sellers, to achieve a higher sale rate right now, so just something to be thinking about.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Just to piggyback, Ishmael, on that COVID-19 addendum / amendment. I just ran into that with my sellers in the buyer side as well. And what we did was we negotiated if something like that would happen. We did put up in the addendum / amendment for the COVID-19 if that person, can't perform due to COVID-19. We put it out for 15 days after the initial closing date, which has been pushed out anyway to like May 14th. That if both parties can't come to an agreement, what we did, we negotiated that they would be able to keep half of the earnest money, and both parties was cool with that, and it worked out great. So what that did for my sellers, for their inconvenience, of course, they'll have a little few dollars or whatever. We hope everything go well, but they'll have, and the earnest money was $1,700 to keep in mind. So we're looking at $850 for their inconvenience if that buyer wasn't able to perform after that 15 days beyond the closing date. And the buyer side, they was totally in agreement with it because they felt, that they're strong buyers. They're not concerned about losing their job, but we just put that in there. And what it did for my sellers, it made them feel a lot more comfortable with accepting that offer because we had multiple offers on the property. We put it up a couple of weeks ago. The same day we got multiple offers on it. But just to put that out there, that's something you can negotiate as well, because if you have a finicky seller that may be a little leery, about what's going on with this COVID-19, because once again, it's uncertainty. We all don't know what may happen, but just to make sure that they was comfortable with accepting that offer, which was a great offer, by the way. But once again, we was able to incorporate that on that addendum/amendment with the COVID-19. So just to throw that out there.
Ishmael, can I ask your opinion? If you were representing the seller, do you want to make sure there's a COVID with your listing agreement or your purchases, or do you only want that if you're the buyer's agent?
Well, real quick, so the default on the addendum is that it extends by 30 days, and if there is no agreement after 30 days, earnest money goes back to the buyer, unless you do what was just suggested and negotiate outside of that. Now, my recommendation for whether a seller include it, I would say no, because the sellers are in higher demand than buyers are. And like the gentleman just said, they were in multiple offers. And so the seller's hands are tied with the addendum. So I think mine was done 24 hours after the addendum came out. And I don't even know that the agent read it. I don't know. I just know that we didn't even talk about it. So that was great for me. I thought it was going to be a hurdle that was going to have to get negotiated, but it didn't.
Well, it was sent over with their offer on our side. It was sent over with the buyer side. So when my seller synced it, they was like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Hey," then I had explained to them what it was, and they was like, "Oh, okay, I understand." And so they was like, "Well, is it possible?" And of course, once again, it's kind of hard to explain to your client, say, if this or that happens, and get them to understand to be sympathetic to what can potentially happen. Some sellers just don't want to hear it. Like, hey, if I accept this offer, this is what I want to happen. So that was my way of getting them to be more comfortable with accepting that offer. And they was like, okay, I'm cool with that now. So if it's ever presented that way and you have a seller that's giving you pushback in regards to what may happen, or if this happened and that the third, then you can say, hey, well, let me go back to the buyer side and see where they at. It's not on me. It's not a guarantee, but let me just check the temperature and find out if it's possible. When I went back, they was like, hey, we're good with that. My buyer's strong. My buyer's good with that. Not concerned. They work for a certain company that we pretty much know is not going to go out of business or get laid off or anything. And in fact, they're demand for this company. So they was cool with it. So they presented it first. And the agent on the buyer side told me, say, Marcus, I would have never even brought it to the table if it was just, and it was like more so like he didn't even, want to bring it, but he just threw it in the mix just to see what happens. Well, what happened was we bid and we went, and this is what we did. And that way, if something did occur and we wasn't able to close on time, or even after that time lapse, and depending on if the buyer and the seller want to negotiate more time, if they just want to cut ties, well, at least my seller say, hey, for me sitting here on my hands for the last month and a half, I got $850 out the deal, and I don't feel it's bad. So now let's go back to the market. So it was presented to us first, And I think with my purchase I just rolled up, I did present it as well, just on the strength, of what's going on, just to protect my buyer, to be honest.
I think that's great.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
I think so too. I think if you're representing a buyer, you should have that attached no matter what, because who has any idea? I mean, I had a $500,000 offer, $5,000 no earnest money offer from my client who has a very secure job, but his deal in Oregon backed out and they're delayed for like 30 days. But here's the thing, also, we still do our jobs. We ended up negotiating that we are going to extend, even though the seller's mad about it. They in the end gave in because at that price point, they're not going to be able to easily put it back on the market anyways.
Right.
I agree with you. Like, if you're representing your buyers, I think the COVID agreement is a good idea to at least start with. Who knows what's going to happen, and at least you're protecting your buyer. But Ishmael, I mean, you have more of a background on this. The fact is, when you deal with sellers, the reality is it's not that easy to get the earnest money no matter what happens. I mean, we can all say, oh, it says refund to seller, but there's ways nowadays that, I mean, it's still litigious. Things could get to where the seller won't get what they want. But with the COVID amendment, at least you're protecting your buyer to get their money back.
Yeah, true. Does anybody, Neal earlier on in the conversation, Neal talked about the shift that's happening. So there's going to be these times for people that are in this full time and willing to put in the grind. These are times to gain market share. There's going to be part-timers leaving. There's going to be out-of-timers leaving. There's going to be people that just bear the storm. And so it's important. Prospecting right now is more important than ever. So I wanted to quick throw out there if people had any questions about prospecting right now. If this is a good time to talk about it. And also, we didn't really talk about mental health and how people are doing out there, but how much prospecting you're going to be able to do if you're biting your nails every hour. So I just, I wanted to put a few things out there for people to be mindful. I know sometimes I'll sit in this chair for 6 hours and I won't feel a certain way other than stiff. And so I've started trying to take a walk around the block at least once an hour. I try to get a reminder. I don't always get up and do it, but at least I have a reminder. I get dressed. I get up, get dressed, go to the office every day. I schedule breaks, don't always take them. But that's the first step is eating a regular breakfast, having lunch, making sure you're getting family time. This is the perfect time right now to put regularity into your schedules. We have a very hectic profession that we're in, and it's right now you control things. My business is dual state, and I was shifting to this model anyway, and so the idea of having to talk over the internet to people, I was wondering how I was going to be able to get everybody to get on board with that, and this is where we are. And so you can get these best practices in place right now so that when we're in post-coronavirus, your buyers and sellers and prospects are already used to this environment. It's so efficient. There's no driving to and fro. You're going to do some showing, but learning how to prospect in this environment is critical. So think about that. I want to let everybody know there's people that obviously they have to be doing business right there. Some people are choosing to do real estate right now, but there's those that have to. There's corporate relocations on both the buyer and seller side. There's people that sold that were contracted pre-coronavirus and they need to buy a home. There's people out there that have to move. There's leases ending. There's reasons that people are transacting real estate. So it's just turning rocks and prospect. And don't forget to prospect. Whoever's prospecting right now is going to gain market share. When the floodgates open at the end of coronavirus, whoever was doing their due diligence during this downtime is going to come out ahead. So it's easy to worry, but doing something about it right now is going to really benefit your businesses.
Can I say this? I seen a lot of things over the years. I've been in this industry over almost 23 years, and I've seen a lot of things happen with the real estate market. Kind of remind me somewhat of when we went through the bubble back in '08 or whatever, when a lot of the agents, like you guys said, some stayed and a lot of them fell off. And when it came back to things kind of getting back to a little normal, which we had a few years of short sales, there was a lot of short sales to be had that would, keep your business rolling. And so you learn a lot going through these type of things. This is the worst I ever seen it. I kind of felt that it was going to happen because if you've been in this industry for more than a few years, you will know during a certain time of the year that the market itself, even if you're in a multiple offer situation, that there's a lot more inventory out there. So it was a lot of people a lot more smarter than they was, some years ago, buyers and sellers to be in fact, that if they didn't know, they felt something. That's the reason why we were struggling with inventory back here, even in late January, early February, when there's a lot more inventory. But of course, you have a multiple offer fight. And one thing that I figured out, because of course I'm always prospecting. Of course, if you get listers, they're always great because you kind of hold, you kind of holding the bag. Everybody needs to kind of come at you. What I'm finding out as well with a lot of my leads that come through my through my lead generation, as far as I'm using Chime as well. That a lot of them is I talk to them, and then when I come back to them, their jobs, they're uncertain about their jobs. So what the campaigns that I'm running now is basically, let's get you qualified, and that way you have a lot better chance of getting qualified buyers versus getting those straw buyers, or even just getting people that's willing to say, hey, I want to buy a house, but then they don't really know where they at financially and what's going to happen. So I think the main goal is what I'm trying to say is that if you're going to prospect and if you're going to solicit buyers, try to run campaigns leaning more towards getting financed first. That way you can kind of have at least an idea on where these people are financially, as far as work wise, employment wise, and being able to even buy a home, and that'll cut down to a lot of rigmarole. I should say, in regards to just spinning your wheels and hey, people just reaching out to you through lead generating because they visit your website, but they don't really want anything. So that's what I've been kind of focusing more so towards, kind of bringing my loan officers to the table, saying, hey, let's push campaigns where we get people qualified first, and then we can start kind of focusing on, okay, we know where they are. We can kind of start focusing on that, start looking at homes and things like that. I think that's really important right now. That's just my opinion, but I think it's working.
I agree.
Also, let's make sure as a group we're using the Facebook page and trying to, with the new rules, you can't share out publicly your, like we used to previously, your coming soons in the same way, but you can within your own brokerage. So within our own brokerage, we can share that information. So, like I just posted over here in the chat box, I have a unique property with a music studio coming up. I'm talking to the guy today. We'll sign today. If you have buyers, we need to be partnering up with ourselves as an NRG team. We need to be utilizing that because we have a lot of great, as Ishmael said, we've got people who specialize in different things. I don't need to be the foreclosure specialist. Somebody on this team is, and use them, and just, instead of me reinventing the wheel, I'm thinking, I'm going to jump into foreclosures for 1 or 2 clients and waste my time. I could partner with somebody in our team and say, hey, I got a client that wants this kind of property. Can you help me? Vice versa. On that note, then, Neal, what are you doing about home partners? Is home partners still an option? What's going on with that?
Good question. So to back up a little bit, let's be super clear. If you have a listing agreement, you have to still list it within 24 hours, no matter what.
My listing is up. I know what you mean. What do you mean by that?
Well, you can't, if you have a listing,
the paperwork's been submitted to Ann, and it's already, I had to withhold, it went live today. And today I'm getting another listing agreement signed. It isn't signed yet. What are you talking about?
You can't scapegoat the new rule by posting it within the brokerage. Us being National Realty Guild has that does not.
That's not at all what I meant.
You asked about home partners, right?
No, I think he's talking about no, but I'm saying if you have, if you have a withhold and a coming soon signed, you can't market it the way we used to, but you can market it within National Realty Guild. Withholds and coming soons.
I don't think that's accurate.
Okay. I literally called rules and regulations myself to ask about it, but I'll call them again.
Well, that's good. I just figured that the whole reason was like Lindell, right? Like,
No, if you read the documentation, it's within brokerage. It's not the same. You can do things
that's pretty
within
legit.
brokerage that you can't do outside your brokerage.
That's
I
pretty
think I know.
odd.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Like how we just put out there to our fellow agents on the NRG Connect that, hey, I got a property coming up.
Yep.
You put your information. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, what's the issue?
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't want to muddy the waters on that. I'm sorry. We can talk about that outside of that if we need to, but I agree. I want to follow the rules, but I'm saying I think within brokerage is different.
I think you're right.
If you got confirmation, it just doesn't make sense. Why would they even have it that way then? Because that's still.
Well, that means like you can't go to Facebook and post it to a garage sale site.
I agree, but it still removes Remax from having access to our listings because we sold it.
The interesting thing, the rules and the regulations person said, if your buyer wants you to do something, you also have to go by what your buyer asks you to do, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, again, I do think though we need an NRG training on this from somebody directly from rules and regs, because it is something that can get you in trouble. And I definitely don't want to, like the two properties I'm specifically speaking about, one had to withhold and went live today. That's in St. Paul. The other one, I'm meeting with the client today to sign the documents. We don't have anything signed, but it's coming.
No, I'm just making sure because there's other people on the call that we are accurate. And
I agree.
So, and I agree with you. I think we should nail it down for sure because you know me, I'm all about marketing. So,
I agree.
I would like that to be accurate because that would be helpful for everybody.
So I just printed out this clear cooperation, the rules. So pre MLS, that's what you're talking about, Liz, right?
Mm-hmm.
So pre MLS, you can market as usual within the brokerage. No showings. MLS, as Neal said, MLS input still must be complete and filled out and include the photo. So internally, we only have one office, so that does go to the extended brokerage. Say a Coldwell Banker, there's a gray area whether they can go across offices, but we're
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's an advantage.
So you can't show
NRG.
you can't show the property prior to anyone else having access to it.
No, that's actually not true either, Neal.
No, there's $1,000 fine. The new clear cooperation, there's a fine if you show pre-MLS now.
Yeah, you can't do that. Now within our brokerage on NRG Connect, if you're doing that, like how we do with each other and put that out there, hey, I got a listing coming up, coming to the market soon. That's fine. That's what I understand. That's what they're saying. But no, you can't go out showing a property pre-MLS. We can't do that. That I know of.
I think part of the clear cooperation problem is that, to me, how I read it and understood was that they were tired of agents who were trying to get both sides. It wasn't that you were just keeping it within your brokerage. It was that you were trying to get both sides, which wasn't beneficial to your seller in most cases. So my understanding from when my phone call to rules and regs was, I can show a withhold property, withhold, mind you, not coming soon. I can show a withhold property to anybody my seller agrees to show it to, especially within your own brokerage. And again, I don't want to say it was me. I had a conversation that was my interpretation. That's why
I don't have, because they're trying to prevent dual agency for the big brokers to get double paid, right? Liz doesn't get double paid, but Randy is, right? So I don't know. We got to confirm on that. I think if there's no listing agreement at all, that rule is not even in place at all. But once you have signatures on a listing agreement, that changes everything. Trust me, guys, like I want to go down that road of coming soons and go backwards, but we can't.
Well, I will say, according to what Ishmael said, if you take away the showing, If you take away the showing,
Yes, you can do a
you
virtual
can market.
tour.
You for
Yeah,
sure can market within your brokerage.
but you can't show it.
Okay, I'll take that for now until I talk to rules and regs again. I will.
Perfect.
I agree.
Perfect.
But at the same time, that's something we should use to our advantage for the marketing part. That
Absolutely.
that NRG Connect page on Facebook, you guys, it is not used enough. We all have listings that should be posted there. We have stuff that we should be sharing with each other. We should be, because just because it's on MLS, don't assume my client's criteria found your property. Like, we should be sharing, that page should be popping every day with algorithms too. It'll help it move up. I feel like that page, we need more activity on it. We should be sharing with in-house way more often.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Back to your home partners question. You know, they're not doing new applications or purchasing properties if they were already under contract. The deals are still happening until the shelter in place is up. They will not be doing new transactions. So it only matters if you had tenants that want or need to move because their lease is ending. So, you know, I have an option for contract for deed if you guys got people that have cash down. My team and I work closely with someone who can contract for deed, minimum 10% or 10,000 down. Super easy to work with. But yeah, so home partners, you know, they're not going to be doing anything until the shelter in place across the country, depending on, you know, state specific shelter in place is up, and then they'll be back to normal. So I'm just nurturing people, you know, people that have leases up that reached out to me later in the summer, whatever, that's fine. You know, it's just keeping them, just like with your buyers that are skittish of the market right now. Just you gotta be nurturing them. You have to understand there's billions and billions of dollars being spent monthly for people to steal clients right out of your database. So you have to be nurturing them. And you're not selling them real estate. You're not selling them anything. You're literally calling them to ask them how they're doing through all this. That's it. That's it. You're just being of value, you know, and being, honestly, people need that rock in their life right now, right? So you got to be the person that's optimistic and hopeful and giving them, you know, especially buyers right now, they are going to get, they have a savvy agent, a screaming deal by the end of the year. I mean, they have to be excited, right? So Marcus, I know your investors are just chomping at the bit, just waiting, right?
Yes, they are.
You know, and that's the game we're in. Sellers right now, the only thing we know is hour by hour, minute by minute, day by day. And as of today, they need to list their freaking property immediately. Any day can change to where it's not amazing anymore, right? But properties are still selling. Marcus had multiple offers on his property. You got to price a little aggressive. But, you know, if you have sellers that are willing to continue to stay there, then whatever, just list it, right? If it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. If it sells, it sells. But, you know, for buyers, you know, I work with the investors that own the properties I manage. They're all getting ready. It's going to be a prime opportunity to take advantage. The big thing with Club Wealth Coaching that we're telling everybody is with chaos brings opportunity.
No doubt.
So, you know, it's not to mention with investors, we should, as realtors, be picking up at least one property a year. This is a prime opportunity to haven't started to start doing that, because we're coming across the deals first, right?
Correct.
And secondly, for our investors, you know, there's going to be opportunity for agents, like Ishmael said, to take advantage of the market share. He's not lying. My Zillow rep said, all I had to do was ask, what's Lindahl doing? He's gobbling up every zip code he possibly can, while other agents are scared to spend a dollar. The agent that knows what he's doing, we can all have our mixed feelings about him, but he's figured it out. I would probably copy what he's doing, right? So he's getting every possible market share he can and taking advantage of the agents that are running scared, if you will. And we're doing the same, right? We're doubling up on ad spend leads because we know that that's just going to breed opportunity. So Ishmael hit it right on the head. What happens today is what's going to affect your pipeline in 90 days, always, but more so now, right? You know, people are afraid to reach out. We have to be the ones that just reach out differently. You know, we're not selling anything. So my team has, Ishmael, I'm sure you've experienced the same. People are bored. Like they want to hear from people. So like your 5-minute conversation turns into 20, 30 minutes of just chit chatting, right? What better way to build rapport than just talking to people about their job, what they're experiencing, you know, like how are they handling the shelter in place, right? Just building that relationship is easier now. You're not going to and from. You're, you know, doing it on Zoom. I've had sellers walk me through as a seller consultation, just walk me through their house. Like I'm hanging out at my house, you know, like what more can you ask for? So, yeah.
Right. And that board thing can go both ways. That's the reason why I said that right now is a great time to if you're marketing the market finance, because once again people are bored. So you get a lot of those straw buyers of people just go to your site and inputting information incorrectly or just overall just wasting your time. So with that being said, those ones that aren't really interested and they actually go through the financing process of it all, you know, you got somebody that's really serious if they're able to do it now or later. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
yeah, it can go both ways with that board thing. So that's why I said that's why it's important to do that. So
Yeah,
let's keep that in mind. Yeah.
You know, it depends, right? It depends how many leads you have. If you have thousands of leads, then yeah, you got to prioritize. But depending on how many you have, you know, for me, the rule still stands. If they have a pulse and they want to see houses, I'm going to give them one freebie, right? I'm going to show them houses to build that rapport connection. But then, you know, getting them to one of your lender partners is critical for sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. I don't turn down nothing but my shirt collar at the end of the day. But
Right.
and if they do have a pulse, of course they can buy. But I'm just saying that kind of get us to a lot more people that can potentially buy now or sooner than later.
It's definitely different. You're right. It's definitely
definitely that. And
people couldn't or could buy 60 days ago that can't now for sure.
Correct. And then too, I think it was Liz. Is that about the foreclosure thing? About the foreclosure thing. I'm not a specialist in foreclosure, but I have did quite a few over the years. I just did one last month, and I seen the comment that she had asked about how the process go, and there was a lot of information that was being thrown out there that I thought was you know, not throwing any rocks, but it was a lot of misinformation.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, on NRG Connect and about the foreclosure process. It don't always take 6 months to 12 months. You have to wait for the sellers to move out and all the rigmarole. It can happen differently for every situation. They always different, but for the most part, there's not always a wait until the redemption period is up. So just put that out there. I've seen a lot of stuff. I didn't even comment on it because it was just too much. But that's not the way my last transaction went last month on the foreclosure. My seller, we got a buyer, boom, came in immediately, boom, we closed immediately. Just had to go get the sheriff certificate, boom, it was a done deal. There was no hiccups or nothing along the way. So just keep that in mind when we putting information out there on the NRG Connect, that people know what they're talking about, not misleading people and making them feel like, oh, well, maybe I don't want to get involved with that transaction because of the time frame or all the work that's involved. I mean, a little work ain't never killed nobody, but at the end of the day, that's not how foreclosures work. with a lot of the stuff that was being thrown out there. So I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, it's a good point. And the more content that we put out there, because everyone comes from everywhere differently, right?
Right.
We should probably work on having like admins that approve and disapprove content. Probably would be a good
I
idea.
think what he's talking about is I posted a question and people were replying to it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right.
So he's saying that people were saying, oh, they're difficult, they're a pain in the butt, I wouldn't bother. That's what he means, not people like posting something saying this is information about foreclosures. It was their personal opinion that they are difficult in.
Got it.
Right, Marcus?
I didn't even see it.
Liz, it was some of that, and then it was also a lot of advice that was being thrown out there. If you had to just went down the comments, you would have seen what I seen.
No.
But there was some things out there that was being thrown out there that would be misleading to a person that's not familiar with how the process goes. I'm just saying I'm just telling you what I seen. You know,
right.
So,
I'm just telling Neal, I don't think it's I mean, it's Facebook, for God's sakes. You're going to have the wrong opinion and
oh, no doubt.
No. I'm just saying for Neal, I don't think our admin needs to monitor it. I mean, first of all, that page is not used enough. But right. I do like what Marcus said, though, is that I thought, so when I left NRG last year, and when I came back, I was told there was going to be more trainings. There was going to be more information. And I really have to say, I haven't seen it. And I do think it would be beneficial to our agents if people presented, like Neal has done lots of presentations about home partners. He's offered them, they've been out there, right? But I feel like we have so many knowledgeable people, like Marcus, what you just talked about, you know, like, would you ever be willing to offer about certain strategies and things you use to offer as like an online training? I know a lot about down payment assistance. I would gladly do a Zoom. I can offer it to Francis. He can put it out there. I would gladly do a Zoom because, to be honest, some down payment assistants are not gone right now, and they could be what's going to save your client who lost out. There's been changes to Minnesota housing. I've done Habitat for Humanity. I've done Project Reinvest, done Scott County. I've done like over 7 different programs to help my clients buy. So I know a little bit, and if people just had that information, it's one more thing. You pull one buyer with that information and you save somebody a purchase right now, maybe that can help. But I just feel like we have expertise that we should have more training out there, more available. It doesn't have to be, especially now with online, like how hard is it for somebody to do a video for 5 minutes, put it on the NRG site, and just have it be shared with people so we have that info.
Yeah, we're working on that. I spoke with Randy yesterday, so we're working on that. We'll probably end up doing every Wednesday, having some sort of topic. I'm going to try and get coaches to come and talk to the brokerage as well about stuff. So,
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I was just saying I agree with Liz. And I think what it is that one thing, you know, we all learn real estate class, you know, real estate 101, you do this, you do that, then, you know, you take the test, you get your license. But what they don't teach us until you get into the real world, I think the best experience is real world experiences. And if we could share more of that on particular transactions without disclosing too much to, you know, people information, of course, because it's about disclosure, would be more helpful versus everything being like a robot, you know what I'm saying, per se. You know, it's like, okay, Neal, for instance, you had this transaction to go with Home Partners, and you know a lot of people use Home Partners. I use them as well. And this may occur, so you may want to be mindful of this so that won't happen. You know what I mean? I think that'd be really helpful to the brokerages overall. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, with the if you're dealing with a short sale or foreclosure, like you said, Liz, those things, those real world experiences, really what's going to help our agents be better agents. You know, help everybody for that matter. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of things, but there's some things I haven't seen that you guys may have seen, and I can learn from that. So I think that would be a great forum or platform for us to be able to do some of that from time to time, especially if it's something really crazy out of the ordinary that none of us probably never really, or at least we thought we never experienced it. Then now we can say, oh, wow, that's something I could watch out for. You know what I mean? So it's just my opinion.
Yep, no, that's valid. Good stuff, guys. Does anyone else have any questions? Otherwise, we'll continue next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome.
Now,
Stay
deuces.
good, guys.